Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Guys, Kalidou Koulibaly wins it late for Napoli. We went one goal behind. Clumsy mistake by Manolas. But in the second half, guys, we got the 2 goals, won the game 2-1, and I don't have words. I don't have words for that man, Koulibaly. I think I love him. And out of everyone on that field, he's the one that deserves it the most. A few years ago, he had that issue where he scored the own goal against Juventus, and he redeemed himself now. And I really hope that, unlike the year before that, but actually, where he scored and then Napoli didn't win the title, I hope that this time things are going to be different after that goal against Juventus. A lot of you in the comments are talking about Frank, right? Frank Anguissa, Zambo Frank Anguissa. What a boss. What a boss. I've never seen such a commanding debut in my life in midfield for a Napoli player. I cannot remember a single Napoli player having played so well in his first game. What a performance. What a performance. I don't even want to hear as a joke any comparisons to Bakayoko, because my boy Zambo does not deserve that. Does not deserve to be named in the same sentence as Bakayoko. Alright? I don't want to hear it even as a joke. This guy is class. This guy is actual class. He's got everything. He's got power, positioning, skill, awareness. He's got everything you want from midfielder. We're not going to see a lot of assists, a lot of goals from him, but that's not really what he's there for. He's that missing piece in Napoli's midfield, the guy that we tried to get so many times in the last few years in transfer markets, and we never quite got someone with those characteristics. We finally have him, and I think that now this team is complete in midfield. Obviously, it could be still better. Every team can improve, especially a team like Napoli, but I think we've got the right characteristics in the players. Let's see some of the comments, guys. I know you guys are super hyped for this win. Koulibaly, Frank, all you guys are talking about is Koulibaly and Frank. I thought other players like Politano also had a really good game, so let's make sure that we also give a shout out to Politano. Guys, let me know where you're watching this in the world, because it's a big game. I'm sure a lot of you guys are staying up late to watch this, waking up early, whatever the case may be. So yeah, and make sure, guys, you're smashing that like button. Make sure, if you like Napoli beating Juventus, if you love to see that one more time later on this year, then you got to make sure you're smashing that like button. That's how it works, guys. If you don't smash it, then we're not going to get it again this year, right? But anyways, let's not talk about what it is to come, but let's keep focus on today's game, because the season is long, and so let's not get too carried away. All right. Anthony Giampaolo saying the characteristics are there. I worry about the defense, though. Manolas is inconsistent, and Mairui, well, speaks for himself. So I thought Mairui actually had an all-right game today. Manolas is inconsistent, but I'm going to defend him a bit today, okay? I think there's something that a lot of people missed in the goal that we conceded. So, you know what? I'm going to go straight into it. I'm going to go straight into the analysis of the game, all right? Because we need to get to that Manolas moment, all right? We need to address the elephant in the room, all right? Maximus Bai was saying, how many times did Rui give the ball away? And I agree, he gave the ball away so many times. That is 100% true. So that's his limit. He's got a technical limit, Mairo Rui. But today, I'm just not going to go hard on these players. You know, after we win against Juventus, we're going to have to bump some grades up. We're going to have to... Neda Kalamar. He needs to highlight that. No, thank you for the donation, but me over Mairo Rui, not exaggerating. I mean, to be honest, man, I don't debate that. I don't debate that. But what I did like about Mario Rui today was that even though he messed up one or two times, I think he had still great application in terms of commitment. He's always given it that 110% in terms of his motivation. In the second half, he came out, pushed forward. He's got serious limits, all right, Mario Rui. But he works with those limits, if that makes sense. Or I don't know if it's just my emotions talking after the Juventus win, or after the win on Juventus. But I need to get to the Manolas moment, all right? Because I want your opinion about this, all right? This is how I saw it, but we'll get to that. So this is literally the only chance we had in the first half. It was a tale of two halves. It was a story of two halves. In the first half, we only had this opportunity where Insigne, or pretty much only this opportunity, where Insigne sliced the ball over to Politano, who made a great run. Politano was excellent today. And his header went just over the bar. And then we get to this moment, all right? And I want you guys to look at Giovanni Di Lorenzo when he gives the ball to Manolas, all right? You got to trust your teammates, is what I'm saying. You got to trust your teammates when you play football. So if Giovanni Di Lorenzo is saying, I don't want the ball back, and he's pointing to put the ball on the other side of the field, right? Manolas is not going to boot it from right to left. He's going to go through Ospina, and then through Ospina, get the ball towards Mario Rui, right? And he's basically saying, I don't want it. Don't kick it forward. Give the ball back. Let it play through Ospina towards Mario Rui. And that's what Manolas tried to do. He was just trying to do what Di Lorenzo said for him to do. He's trusting his teammates. Was that the bad decision? Yes. Just because Di Lorenzo says it doesn't mean you have to do it, but I see why the mistake happened. All right, so it's a very subtle moment that I think a lot of people missed, and that's why I wanted to highlight that. Now, obviously, if your teammate tells you to jump off a cliff, do you jump off a cliff? Probably not. So, there's that to consider as well. But I'm just trying to say this is where the mistake comes. And if we're going to give blame to Napoli players, which we definitely should for this goal, let's make it 50-50 between Di Lorenzo and Manolas. Obviously, he's caught sleeping. Morata recovers the ball. And Ospina, well, he's not really in a great position there, is he? But I don't think he was ready to sort of react to that situation and find his positioning, because it happened so quickly. But let's see what you guys say in the comments about that. So ID Beats is saying Mario Rui played well. See, I think he had an all right game. Not a standout, not a bad game. I mean, you'll see it in the player ratings. He's one of the lowest performers, but I still don't think he had a horrible game. Definitely, I've seen worse from Mario Rui. You have to always consider, when I talk about this player played well, this player played bad, I'm talking about his potential. If you've got like Mario Rui, you're not going to expect him to be Roberto Carlos. But if you play Roberto Carlos and he plays to the level of Mario Rui, then you're going to give him a 4 out of 10, right? So you've got to consider the players as well. Maximus is saying, I missed that Di Lorenzo point, changes the whole situation. That's what I thought. That's why I wanted to highlight that, because we're so quick on giving the blame to players without sometimes realizing the context of how things happen. And at first I didn't notice it. I only noticed it because I'm constantly screenshotting while I'm watching the game, and then I saw that image and I thought, well, that's a key piece of evidence right there. Took out my put on my detective hat and saw that. If you want to share blame, then you can say 90% Manolas, 10% Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Says Anto Armenio, or Armenino, sorry. The text is really small. 90-10, 50-50. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm saying why something could have happened. But obviously, Manolas had a big part to play, because you expect a player like that, even if he has to give the ball back to the goalkeeper, he's not going to make that mistake. Let's see. Vesabius is saying he made the whole Discord server fall in love in 20 minutes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah, guys, I haven't mentioned this in a while, but there's a link in all my videos linking a Discord with all Napoli fans. So if you're into that, make sure you're on there. I haven't been on there in a while just because I can't keep up with all the chat. So I gave up. But that shows you how passionate these guys are. That shows you how much activity is in that Discord. So if you're super into that, then go ahead and check that out. Great guys. Everyone who's on that Discord knows about Napoli Talk and vice versa. So you're going to be with the same group of people. Daniel Nervosa, Anguissa is Bakayoko 2.0. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want Anguissa and Bakayoko in the same sentence. They're different planets. It's like comparing dogs to elephants. That's literally the difference, between two people. I don't want to hear it, seriously. Kanuhan Flame is saying, Napoli Talk, please answer this. Would you rather have a two-man backline of 2 Koulibalys, a 4-man backline of 4 Manolasses, or a 6-man backline of 6 Mario Ruiz? That's a lot of disasters, 6 Mario Ruiz. So I would definitely go with 2 Koulibalys. I think if we had 2 Koulibalys, we could just play with that in defense 100%. I mean, oftentimes it's basically just him and we deal with situations. So 2 Koulibalys, I think we're fine. Gerald Hualpa, Anguissa is good as an Inter fan. Oh, there's Inter fans in the chat. I'm going to keep my eye on him. All right. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully the Inter fans and the club don't notice him too much, because then we don't want any competition when it's time to buy him. Obviously, we haven't bought him. He's on loan only. So, let's make sure that we've got priority. But let's make sure other clubs don't tempt him with more money, for example. Then it's up to him to choose. Tariq BK says, good preference and great win. I think we are ready to compete for the trophy. Look, it's early. Look, guys. So let me go back to putting my big head on display, because we're not talking about the game anymore. We're not talking about the analysis anymore. We're just chatting about the game now. But let me tell you this. This game was more important for Juventus than it was for Napoli. Let me explain. Napoli wins this game. It's just another 3 points, right? We're playing against Juventus. It's just another 3 points. We've got, if we do want to play for the title, we've got another 35 games to go. We've got Inter, Lazio, Roma, Milan, Atalanta, potentially some surprise of the season. We still got to play against all these teams. They are basically still level points with us if they win their games. Obviously, there's a Milan-Lazio this weekend. But what I'm trying to say is, for us, it doesn't really change that much today. For Juventus, it's a different story. For Juventus, all of a sudden now they're -8 compared to Napoli. And compared to these teams, if they win, going into that title race. And yes, they still got 35 games. They can still do whatever they want with those 35 games. They could win all 35 for what we know. But they're -8 for now. That's a fact. And it's hard to recover that, because realistically, they're not going to go 35 games unbeaten. For us, we win this game, there's still a chance we end up 5th or 6th, let alone first. All right, so let's go easy on the whole title talk. It does send a message, but this game marks Juventus' season much more than Napoli's, much more, because it sentences Juventus to a season without competing for the top spot. For us, we still don't know. Could be 4th spot, could be 1st. We don't know. So I hope that makes sense. Let's see what you guys think in the comments. I see there's some Manchester United fans on there. Who needs Ronaldo, says Romeo Daly Jr. I don't know if you're on here because you were a Juventus supporter and then you switched over to Man United when Ronaldo left, but then you kind of were still hung up, or you're still, supporting Juve, and then you're just in this chat because of the game. I don't know, but strange seeing United supporter here. But if not, whatever. You do you. Anthony Giampaolo, sell Osimhen, no way. He is a workhorse. He didn't get much service at all today. Who said sell Osimhen? Who in the chat said sell Osimhen? He had a bad game. I disagree with the bad service. I thought there were 2 or 3 occasions where he should have been in a better position. He should have taken his chances more. He was in good positions, and maybe his passing let the team down. So not the best performance by Osimhen, but I'm not going to say we need to sell him or he's a bad player. I think Osimhen is one of our top players, and he's going to score 20 goals this season as a minimum if he stays injury free. It's just that Osimhen needs to try to make the difference against one of the big 6 teams. So far, he's only scored against Atalanta, and that goal was when we were already winning by a few goals. It was that game that it was 4-1 that we won, I think, and he scored the 4th goal, a great goal. But he needs to be decisive against the top 6 teams, and I think what he's missing at times is just a bit of calmness, just a bit of. There's some strikers that you don't expect them to pop out of nowhere and score that goal. That's what Osimhen needs against the top 6 teams. He needs to read the situation, think a bit more, and then strike, because these are talented defenders, the ones playing in the top 6 teams. So you need to really think about how you're going to make the run, how you're going to position yourself. It's not just, it can't just be you go and you try to always make that same run. You try to always be more physical than Chiellini. It's not going to go well for you. You got to pick your moment, and that's something that great strikers do, and Osimhen still needs to do that. Let's see. Adam Miller, curious about your thoughts on Lozano. So far, I feel like he looks more like 2 years ago than how he looked last year. He's better than 2 years ago, because 2 years ago he was struggling to even control the ball. But he did suffer a nasty injury with Mexico over the summer. He was basically not trained. He didn't train for a month and a half, missed all of preseason. So it's going to take some time to see Lozano again, but it's not like he's forgotten how to be a football player. So we just need to give him a bit more time. And I am already seeing some improvements compared to what he showed in August, for example. So let's go back to the analysis. So this is how Juventus scored. And then in the first half, right, I didn't like our midfield, or I didn't like how we linked up between midfield and attack. So let me explain. Juventus were playing this 4-4-2, right? You can see here the back 4, the midfield 4, and then the front 2. And we had Elmas very close to the 2 strikers, Kulusevski and Morata, and we had Fabian in between either Rabiot and McKennie, or McKennie and the other guy over there. But basically, what he didn't do, what Fabian didn't do in the first half, was he didn't create space for people behind him. So you can see Insigne in this case, he's trying to run in behind McKennie, trying to receive that quick pass from Koulibaly, right? That's the plan. But for him to do that, Fabian needs to get out of the way and drag McKennie along with him. If Fabian stands still, then Koulibaly has no option but to pass the ball to Frank Anguissa instead. And that's what we were doing in the first half. We were just passing it laterally all the time, instead of going forward, because there wasn't movement. The spaces were not being created in between the Juventus lines. And that was because Fabian, and to some extent Elmas, were not really, making the right sort of movements. And then we had other types of issues, such as sometimes we would send Osimhen these long balls into the channels, into the wing, and then we wouldn't have anyone from the midfield running into the box. This is where Elmas needed to be. Elmas, who was playing that number 10 role, he needs to make darting runs whenever he sees Osimhen go, he needs to go as well. I didn't see that from Elmas, so there was no one in support. So I think in this case, Osimhen crossed the ball, no one was there. And that's why Spalletti got rid of Elmas in between the first and second half, and he put on Ounas, because Ounas has that capacity not only to play a bit more in between the lines and receive the ball better, but he also has that capacity to dart into the box if needed. But you can see here in that first half, we were completely separated. We had the midfield in doing their thing, the attack doing their thing, it wasn't working. We needed someone like Ounas. It was so evident we needed someone like Ounas on the field that would sit in that middle area, and the game changed for us when we had that in the second half. He got put in that zone, and he was linking up with all sorts of people. He was linking up with Osimhen, with Insigne, with Politano, with Fabian Ruiz. The game changed when Ounas came onto the field. Even though he didn't have the best game of his Napoli career or his life, just the fact that he was in that space helped Napoli tremendously. Let's see what some of you guys are saying in the chat. Let's see if you guys are agreeing with this. I think people hating on Fabian are the same people hating on Jorginho, says ID Beats. To some extent, yes. Look, being a midfielder is it's a difficult role, because you get told by your coach to do certain things, and they're not the most glamorous things, such as hold that position, do this, do that, and they're not the things that win you the applauses, or that quick pass that is just 5 meters that actually then opens up the play. You don't get any credit for that quick 5-meter pass. So to some extent, yes. On the other hand, though, Fabian had a poor first half, much better in the second half, much better, and we know he can be a much better player than what he did in the first half. Let's see. Adam Miller, I hope you're right about Chucky. I was pumped when he came in today. I thought he was going to bring it, but maybe he just needs more time. Yeah, definitely he just needs more time. You could tell his fitness is not there. When your fitness is not there, your confidence is not there. And when your confidence is not there, then you're not as decisive. Let's see. Anto Armenino, I think it's hard to expect immediate impact from a player who plays 20 minutes. Lozano is going to Lozano like he always does this season. He didn't magically lose his talent. Exactly. I think give him a few more weeks and we'll see Lozano, especially if he starts as a starter at some point. But for now, Politano had a great game and probably deserves to start ahead of him. And if not Politano, then probably Ounas. So Lozano's got some work to do. Okay, says off top, but do you plan to make any more tier list themed videos in the future? I keep coming back to the best and worst Napoli players 2000 ranking part 1, wishing for a part 2. So there is a part 2. I just haven't done a part 3, a part 4, a part 5. Guys, I know I haven't done a lot of videos in recent months, but that's because I've been having a lot of things going on outside of Napoli talk, a lot of work. I've been studying for something. Obviously, I don't want to say what it is, because then you guys are going to be like, oh, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? And it's just gonna annoy me. So, but at one point I will be done with that stuff, and then once I'm done with that stuff, I can do more videos on the weekends and stuff like that, and not just match reviews. But yeah, that's the reason, guys. But I hope to do that quite soon. Anthony Navarro is saying Spalletti is very good at subs. I don't think Ounas completely changed the game, but it was another player that Juve hadn't seen much of in a while that made them more open in the back. Spot on, Anthony. Man, I love every time Anthony comments, because it's always just so spot on. Yes, Ounas didn't have his best game, but his presence on the field, where he was positioned on the field, was perfect. Not only that, we haven't seen in Naples a halftime substitution in years. I don't remember the last time we made a halftime substitution in years. We finally have a coach that has the cojones to make that substitution, to understand that it's useless waiting until the 60th minute. If something's not right, just do it. Just make the change. A lot of people wait. A lot of coaches wait. Sometimes that 45th minute change is exactly what you need, because you need all the time in the world in order to recover 2 goals against Juventus, or to score 2 goals against Juventus to get that win. EJ Wise, $4.99 donation. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for always supporting the channel. Keep it up. Of course I will. And thank you so much, man. Roberto Luongo, did Spalletti choose to keep Di Lorenzo back more today? We didn't see many overlapping runs with Politano. I think so. I think we have Juventus players such as, Bernardeschi on the other side, but McKinney, for example, that could have been making runs on Di Lorenzo's flank that we needed to control. And I think once you concede 2 goals, then it would have been way too difficult for Napoli to come back into the game. So I think Spalletti did tell Di Lorenzo to just stand back a bit, because we had players up in attack that were, they could handle it by themselves. But I did think that Di Lorenzo still had a very good game. Not his best, not his worst, just an all right game. I think there's also a bit of fatigue in there, because he did play for Italy a few days ago. Let's see what else. Let's see. Maximus is saying the disrespect that Politano isn't on the national team still. Yeah, and to be fair to him, it's tough to recover from that, because he really deserved to be in the national team. I thought his first 2 games were not great. I thought he might not be playing so well, because he's still hung up about missing out on being European champion with Italy. Today, he showed that he was on it. His reaction for that second goal was incredible. So let's get to that. But before, there was one final chance in the first half that happened to be for Juventus. And again, it was something that Napoli completely gifted, which was Insigne back pass header towards Ospina. And look at Ospina's starting position. He has no right to be anywhere near that ball when Kulusevski gets there. Kulusevski is much closer, and yet Ospina comes out, feline reflexes, makes a miraculous save, and saves the score, because if it had gone 2-0 to Juve at that point, it would have been game over. And that's the difference, I think, between Ospina and Meret. So I really like Meret, because I think he's got great reflexes. He's young, but he doesn't have this speed of coming out. This is something that Meret needs to improve on. I think Meret got scarred when a few years ago he tried coming out, and Ronaldo basically didn't even get the ball in front of him, because it wasn't a penalty, but we got given a penalty against it. And since then, Meret has basically avoided coming out, lunging towards players. But sometimes you need to do it, because if Ospina in this case had stayed on his line, Kulusevski could have scored, or would have scored. But he came out, perfect intervention, and kept the score at 1-0 for Juventus. Let's see some of the comments. Chicara is saying smash that like button, guys. Yeah, guys, there's 81 of you right now and only 39 likes. I want to remind you guys that for every like or extra or new sub, I do donate to the Cannavaro Ferrara Foundation, so make sure you're helping that out. And as I said, if you smash that like button, then Napoli will win the return leg as well in a few months' time. And thirdly, it really helps the channel grow, and that would be very appreciated. So yeah, thank you for reminding to say that. Let's see, Giacomo Castellano, we take those blunders from Juve any day. Talking about probably the 2 goals that we scored also came from mistakes from Juventus. So let's go straight into that. So we recovered the ball from a throw-in, and this is probably what saves Fabian's game, because I think he gained a lot of confidence from this. He recovered the ball over Bernardeschi, quick pass to Insigne, who's calling for the ball. And then Insigne, with his trademark tiragir, goes to that second post. Szczesny, I don't know what's happened to this guy, but he is not the same keeper of a few years ago. Basically, should have saved it, really. Could have done anything. Could have caught it, could have punched it away. Instead, he fumbles it, and Politano's there, quickest to react, and, scores a goal. But Szczesny definitely gifted that for us. It was not an impossible save to make. But this is the difference between the first half and second half. Look at the amount of bodies that are in the box, but also look at Insigne's positioning, in between the Juventus midfield. And we really missed that in the first half. We did that in the second half. And then, this is why I think Mario Rui, while he is technically limited, I thought he had a good game, because he was on it. He tried his best. In this case, the ball went super wide or over the bar. But for him as a left back to get into that position, make that run, I mean, he's been going back and forth on that touchline all game for an hour. And that's the sort of dedication that I want to see from players. And I will always reward dedication. I will always reward it. If I see that you're giving 100%, even though you're screwing up a few passes, honestly, I will not have the guts to give you less than a 6 in player ratings if I see that you're actually giving it 100%. So that's my take on Rui. In the second half, yeah, we had Juventus completely boxed in. I mean, it was a matter of time before we were going to score the goal, pretty much. I mean, you can see here how many players Juventus had in the box. And I think that actually we could have done a bit better. So the difference between the first and second half was that in the first half, we just had Politano there, right? And as someone said in the chat, I can't remember exactly who, Di Lorenzo wasn't making overlapping runs. In the second half, we brought on Ounas, who not only played centrally, but also made overlapping runs with Politano. It dragged a lot of people to cover those two guys. You've got Rabiot, you've got, I think it's Pellegrini, you've got you've got Rabiot, is it De Sciglio or Pellegrini? One of the two. I think it's Pellegrini. So Pellegrini, Rabiot, and McKinney. All three of them for the two guys over there. That leaves Fabian free. So I think actually what Napoli should have done a bit more was take advantage of Fabian being free and have more shots from the box, from outside the box. It worked well for the first goal. I don't know why we didn't try a bit more about that. And also Fabian, we know he's talented. He scored against Genoa, a great goal. I thought Insigne could also, in this case, go a bit closer to the box and support. But I'm sure that if the ball did come towards Fabian, then Insigne would start his run towards the box and support, and also try another tiragir from over there. Adam Miller, thank you for the donation, the $4.99. Thank you, man. Thank you for your support. Thanks for always joining the live. K2 Redemption, keep it up is right. If we want Napoli Talk to continue, a small donation won't hurt. I mean, a small donation never hurts. I will still obviously keep it up with or without the donations, but I do appreciate it. It does motivate me a little bit extra. And I am going to the Leicester game on Thursday. So if anyone is in the UK going to that, let me know. Might bump into you. But yeah, I'm going to that game. So just know that this contributes towards that, yeah, so it's like a part of you is also going to that game, if you'd like to think about it like that. Giuseppe Santo, the chat keeps moving. I missed it. Giuseppe says, this is our best chance to win Scudetto. Yes, because we're the only team that did not get worse. Every other team, I think, got worse. Inter lost Lukaku and Hakimi. Juventus lost Ronaldo, who was masking all of their problems. Milan, they didn't really buy anyone. I mean, they bought Bakayoko, which is our trash. Ibra, we don't know his fitness. Is he going to have as good of a year as last year, as the start of last year? I don't know. The last 6 months, Milan were not so good. Atalanta, sooner or later, Atalanta are going to have to give up their top 4 status. It's impossible for that team to keep being a top 4 team. I think Muriel might have a little injury, and they lost Romero, which was a key player for them. So they're still a good team. I think Roma and Lazio, I'm actually more worried about them, but they, especially Roma, they have a lot more points to catch up compared to Napoli. And I think Napoli last year was maybe the only team that was actually unlucky because of injuries and refereeing decisions. So our level is actually higher than what it was last year, or it's higher than what the league said last year. So we're already in a better position than other teams. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you guys get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it is our best chance in a long time to win something, but 35 games, let's not get carried away. Sorry I'm late, but Manolas seems a very lazy player. Don't know if you covered already, but been like this a long time. Yes, lazy to some extent, yes. I do think he's got a bit of that lazy face going on, but I covered it a bit earlier. I think part of the blame also has to be to Di Lorenzo, who gave him the wrong instruction of what to do with that ball. Anyways, let's get to this. We don't know how bad this is, right? The Insigne injury. I hope it's nothing. It looked bad. It looked bad. I almost had a heart attack. But I've seen Insigne have injuries in the past, and when it's bad, he's often cried. You know when you injured yourself badly. And Insigne, he loves this team so much. If he knows he's gonna be out for a long time, he cries. The fact that he actually managed to walk off, managed to see the rest of the game without having to go down the tunnel and get treatment, I'm thinking that it's maybe not as bad as potentially it seemed at the start. So it seems like a knock, as Anthony is saying. But let's see. Maybe for precaution, he might miss Thursday's game against Leicester, but I don't think it's a long-term injury. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, guys. But yeah, talking about long shots from Fabian, this was incredible. If this went in, this would have been a goal of the season on the volley. But unfortunately, just slightly over the bar. Maybe Szczesny got a hand to it. And then this happened, guys. This is... I love this goal. I love it because Juventus never gives anyone anything. Never. They're always the ones getting all these gifts, especially from Napoli. I can't remember how many games we've just gifted them the win. And for it to be flipped around this time, it just feels so good, man. It feels so good. I mean, what was McKinney doing? And I was listening to the commentator trying to justify, oh, maybe Rabiot got in his way. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, there's no way. There's no way to explain this. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. I don't know why he headed the ball back towards his own goalkeeper. Szczesny, to be fair, made a great save. Great reflexes. But it goes to Koulibaly unmarked. Taps it in. And this guy, he deserves it. He deserves it. And this is how he celebrates. This is, him taking a picture of the fans is just, it's incredible. That's when you know that a player has such a feeling with the fans, because he scores a goal against Juventus, 86th minute, and he's thinking about the fans. Incredible. I want to see that photo. I was so excited about this goal. I made a post on Instagram. I don't know how many of you guys are following me on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, what are you doing, bro? Go visit official Napoli Talk. On Instagram, I made a post. I spelled his first name wrong. That's how excited I was. I was excited about the goal. I was trying to prepare for the live, and I had to delete that story. I'm gonna have to post a new one where I actually spell his name correctly. But I love this man. I love this man. He is everything that I want a Napoli player to be. 100% committed to the team. Every summer they say he's leaving. He's never once made a complaint to the club that he wants to leave. Spalletti says it all the time that if only other players had a bit of Koulibaly in them, then everybody would be on a next level. He changed his flights twice this week so that he could come to Naples earlier. And he went straight from the plane to the training session. Didn't even go home to change. That's how dedicated Koulibaly is. And it just shows, guys, that work pays off. Work pays off. And it's actually scandalous how I don't have a Koulibaly shirt. And for the record, guys, about the whole Instagram thing, Koulibaly does watch my stories, so I had to take that post away because he would not be happy with me if I if I spelled his name wrong. But let's go to the player ratings. For me, Koulibaly, 8 out of 10. Solid display. Had the Juventus defense in his pocket. Great goal. And great player. But I have to reward Frank Anguissa. 8.5 out of 10. For you to make a debut and score. For you to make for you to make a debut and dominate a Juventus midfield. I don't care if it's the worst Juventus midfield in 10 years. I don't care. It's still a Juventus midfield. He had Locatelli, a European champion, in his pocket all game. Got Locatelli a yellow card. Probably Locatelli deserved a second yellow for another foul that he did on Frank. I mean, for you to make a debut like that is just incredible. Goes beyond my wildest dreams. I mean, passing was on point. The back heels were filthy. His positioning was spot on. Everything you want from a midfielder. He had it. So 8.5 out of 10. I cannot wait to see more of him. Safwan Silver, thank you for your donation. Thank you, appreciate it. Forza Napoli forever. If we just believe we have more than enough quality to achieve the dream. That is a very good point. We have to believe. This is something that this team maybe lacks, is that we don't have a lot of belief at times when things get tough. And maybe it's not belief. Maybe it's we don't have enough personality. But I think players like Anguissa showed that he's got personality, because you need personality to dominate the midfield like he did today on his debut. If we've got players like Koulibaly, Anguissa, Ospina, whether he's playing or on the bench, Fabian Ruiz is becoming more of a man. You can tell he's also becoming a bit more vocal on the field. Di Lorenzo has this new aura about him now that he's European champion. Politano's got a point to prove. He's also more mature. Insigne, the maturity he has now is not the same that was 18 months ago. Insigne 18 months ago was still making stupid mistakes, stupid decisions. He is so mature now. And I think there's some players that still have not reached that level. Elmas, Osimhen, they still have not reached that level because they're young. Manolas, I'm disappointed because I feel like he's got the right age where he would be at that level, but he's not. He still has these moments. Mairarui as well. Adam Miller, $99.99 donation. Are you crazy? Adam, this is towards your K2 jersey. Man, thank you. What? Dude, Adam Miller, you gotta shoot me a DM on Instagram. I gotta thank you more personally than what I'm able to do on this live, man. That is crazy. Thank you so much. I cannot. I hope. Man. I'm speechless. Honestly, thank you so much, man. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm gonna buy a Koulibaly jersey just for this, and I'm gonna put a little Adam Miller note behind it or something, and so that I always remember where that's coming from. Wow. Thank you for the. I mean, even just everyone. Thank you for the love that you guys bring to this channel. I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't receiving it. So thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I've turned red. I'm really bad at hiding my emotions, man. Yeah, I'm just. What do you say to a donation like that? And it's not about the money, because it's not about the money. It's the gesture of appreciation. So yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Ospina, guys, stop that. Guys, stop it. Anto Armenino, guys, stop it. How many Koulibaly jerseys can a man have? Yeah, I'm donating this to charity. Seriously. So yeah, thank you guys so much. This is definitely going to the Cannavaro Ferrara Foundation. So yeah, because I need you guys to stop. I need you guys to stop doing so much. All right. Actually, if you want to donate to the foundation, there's a link in the in the description. Actually, so yeah, make sure you guys are checking that out. Yeah, let's continue with the player rating. So Mario Rui and Di Lorenzo 7, because well, as I said, Mario Rui, his dedication to the game. Di Lorenzo, he did mess up with that whole Manolas thing, but I thought he was still excellent. I just want to give everyone a good rating today. I gave Manolas a 5 because you guys would kill me if I didn't give Manolas a 5. I gave Elmas a 5.5 because I want Elmas to come into these games. He's playing as a starter against Juventus. I want him to, in Italian we say that devi spaccare. Like you have to, do more. I cannot imagine why Elmas doesn't come onto the field wanting to just demolish everyone and everything. He's young. He's got everything to prove. Why doesn't he come onto the field with that fire in his eyes? Did I do Ospina dirty? Yeah, I mean, he had one intervention to make. He had one. I gave him a 6 because of his positioning for the Morata goal. So, yeah, I think he could have done a bit better. Honestly, it wasn't an unstoppable shot. So, 6. I don't know. That is a bit dirty. I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna have to change that at some. Pretend like that says 6.5. Okay, so pretend like that's got 6.5. But I just had this image of him being completely out of position for the Morata thing, and it's like, yeah, it's still average. Osimhen average because he didn't get the service that he would have liked. But look, as a striker, you can't expect all 38 games for you to have the service that you want necessarily. You have to adapt. If you're not getting the right sort of passes that you want, then you need to be a more complete player and adapt to that scenario. Osimhen needs to put on some muscle. When he's one-on-one against Chiellini fighting for the ball in the air, he can't always be shoved to the ground. He needs to put on more muscle. When he's back against the goal, he needs to know how to turn. He can't always be making runs. So, yeah, this is where I think that Osimhen needs to improve. Just needs to add a bit more elements to his game. So, yeah. Guys, make sure you are smashing the like button. If you are joining the video, if you are new, then, if you're a Napoli fan, but even if you're not, as long as you're a respectable fan from another team, then subscribe for videos about Napoli and match analysis. Anyways, as Barone04 saying, Rui always gives 100, and I wanted to reward that when we win against Juventus. Ounas 7. His entry in the game was fundamental, but as I said before, because of his positioning, not necessarily because of his contribution. It's more he started taking areas of the field that we needed him to be there, and that changed the game. Whether he actually made a decisive, dribble or pass or shot, no, not really, but still, I'll give him a 7. Lozano, Zielinski, they're the guys that I think fitness-wise, are struggling the most, and you could tell. And then Malcuit and Petagna came on in like the last 2 or 3 minutes. And even then, Malcuit, Petagna, they won 1 or 2 good balls, so useful. And honestly, Spalletti, 3 games now, that's a total of 15 substitutions. Not one was wrong. Not one was wrong. Every substitution he's made so far has been on point. 100% on point. The 45-minute substitution between Elmas and Ounas was fundamental for this win. And the one he made last week, Petagna coming on, was fundamental. I really like how Spalletti's doing so far. Let's see if he's got the press conference out, because if he does, then we can go straight into the press conference. But actually, before we do that, why don't we go to De Laurentiis, because De Laurentiis had something to say. So this is going to be interesting. So De Laurentiis says, let me read this. De Laurentiis says, it's a good start. We have to thank Spalletti because he put this team together. He gave them a very interesting sort of style of play. We're always attacking. We're always conducting the game from the start. It sucks that we had that initial mistakes, because this game we could have won it 2-0. I want to thank Spalletti. I want to thank the team, and I want to thank the 12th man, the player, the fans on the stands who were educated, because there's always some fans that are telling De Laurentiis but there are, I think the majority, I would say 70%, I would say, who support De Laurentiis. There's a 30% usually in the curvas who are a bit anyways, let's see. He said, this is interesting, we have to fight against COVID, we have to fight against national institutions, we have to fight against football institutions. I've always said that we can never do more than X amount of games per year. There's a lot of games happening right now. I love the fact that we're going to Leicester. It's a team that has won a Scudetto, or a title, a few years ago, and they play very good football. They're always on the attack. I've seen some of their games, and I think in Italy we have a lot to learn from Leicester. Today we also had a bit of, let's say, English-style football to us today, because we were always attacking. And he's saying, I hope my friend Boris Johnson lets some of our players play, because we are at risk that some of the players that are arriving from South America and Africa won't be able to play because of quarantine rules. And then they ask him about the enthusiasm that's finally being created in this team and with the fans. He's saying, the enthusiasm, we need to have it, and we need to have it in life. It's not a problem that there's, because look, some people, they're going to say, oh, there's too much enthusiasm with Napoli, with the fans, they get carried away. It's like, what's the point? What's the point of life if there's no enthusiasm? We have white and blue as our colors. They're bright colors. If we didn't want enthusiasm, then we'd be having black stripes on our shirts. But we don't have that. We don't have black stripes. So we need a bit of color. We need a bit of enthusiasm around this team, because that's just who we are, and that's what we love to do. So yeah, he's saying basically it's good to have enthusiasm. Let's not get too carried away, but let's not think that it's a problem. And let's see what Spalletti says. Let's see. Spalletti says, they ask him, was there any problems with the ref today? And he said, no, I didn't have any issues with the ref. I didn't say anything towards him. Basically, I always lose against Juventus, but now this one time, like, just let me enjoy it. Then they ask him what made the difference in today's game, and he says the team was very wise, which is a good word to use. The team was very wise. We remained compact after Juventus took the lead. We never lost our head. They tried to go on the counter 2 or 3 times, but we were always in equilibrium. We always, were occupying the right spaces in those counterattacks. We tried to force play sometimes, but they had a very good block, and it was very difficult. So in tight spaces, they were like lions. With Ounas, we were able to sort of sneak our way around these players that Juventus have in the middle. Basically, Juventus were very aggressive when we were receiving the ball in the midfield. We needed someone like Ounas with quick feet to get away from that sort of pressure. Let's see. Will this victory help Napoli grow? And he's saying these 9 points that we have out of 9 available are very important because they allow us to understand ourselves better, and we've faced a lot of different situations in these 3 games. So, I mean, guys, think about it. Venezia, we had the Osimhen red card. So we've already played a game for 75 minutes with only 10 men. Against Genoa, it's a tough game to play away at Genoa, and we were 1-1. We had to score that second goal. We had to put in players like Petagna and do it the dirty way. Then against Juventus, we mess up. We're 1-0 behind. We have to change it up. And we've got new players, different formation. And we won. So what he's saying is that we've overcome so many different situations in just 3 games, which is really good because he's able to know this team a lot more right now. With the fact that some of these players have played in international competitions, it's going to penalize in the Europa League, potentially. Osimhen came back and he said he needed to sleep, but I played him anyways today. That's funny. But yeah, he's basically saying like these guys, they've come from all over the world, and basically only 2 days ago, and they've already, they were playing today against Juventus. Anguissa helped us out a lot. He's got a lot of physicality, which we didn't have in the midfield before him. It's nice. It's all well and good to have nice ideas, but ultimately you need someone in the midfield that also breaks down the other guys' play. And then on the fans, he says they are great fans. The players come to play the game and work, and the fans also come to cheer, and that's their work. They play the game with us. So effectively he's saying, our fans are not just regular fans. They put in the work during the game, and it gets paid off. There's a great love for this team, and it's transmitted to the players. So good words for the fans. And then they ask him, so do we fly low, or do we, what's our deal now? Do we come out in the open and say, we're gonna go for the title, or do we stay low, fly low? And he's saying, no, we won every game, but every game we suffered. So it's true that we've got 9 points, but it's not like we dominated or anything like that. Then it's true, we do have 9 points. I'm basically saying I'm experienced. I'm not gonna get carried away from these 9 points. Wise words again from Spalletti. I like this guy. I like him. Good subs, great press conferences. I love it. And then basically they ask him about the fact that all 3 goals were from mistakes from individual players. And then he says to the journalist, you're a bit mean. But yeah, effectively, I think those players could have done a bit better. When there's a lot of tension, it can happen that you make mistakes. But there were also nice goals. And then they ask him about Leicester. And he's saying, well, I love to play at European competitions. It's obvious that we need to recover energies for that game, and we've got a limited number of players if we've got issues with, Koulibaly, Osimhen, and all that stuff. I hope that I don't have to leave any players at home. So that's Spalletti. Politano is saying, he also had a quick interview. Politano says, I am absolutely astounded by Anguissa. He arrived here 2 days ago and he's already super integrated, was one of the best on the field. So yeah, great words from Politano. Then he talks about how happy he is to score because he wants to dedicate it to his wife and all that because they have a baby together. Yeah, everyone's happy. Spalletti's happy. Politano's happy. Anguissa, what a player. Let's see some of your comments, guys. Diego Marquez, Ozzy is still hella young. Yeah, guys, give him time. Give Ozzy time, but he needs to improve quickly because I think he's only got this year to really prove himself. If he doesn't reach at least 15 goals and is not decisive in some of the big games, the Juve, Milan, Inter, Roma, Lazio, then that could hurt his career because a lot of people will start to question him. So he needs to do something in one of these games for the haters, really, to get some critics off his back. And I think once he does that, once he scores those goals, he's going to be a lot more relaxed on the field. He's going to be able to do a lot better. I feel now he's still got a lot of tension, like he still feels like he needs to prove himself, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Anthony Navarro, Fiorentina are about to get a penalty versus Atalanta for anyone else watching the game while listening to Dom. Let's see what that game is all about, actually. Let me go and look it up. Fiorentina. Yep, Fiorentina scored with Vlahovic 2-3 minutes ago. So Atalanta are losing. That's a good result for us. Even though Fiorentina are not a bad team, so let's watch out for Fiorentina as well. Because if Vlahovic scores 25 goals this season, then they'll be in the top half of the table. So who knows? But obviously they're not going to fight for the title, I don't think. Citizen number 839X. That's a cool name. Anguissa, one match and we understood how important are the players who gain experience in the best and toughest championships like England and Spain. Ounas better as AMF, he needs to play more. Anguissa is a great player, lots of experience, and I don't think it's necessarily about players coming from different leagues. Chiellini, Bonucci never played outside of Italy, and I think they're the most experienced center backs in the world. Koulibaly only played in Belgium before Napoli, and he's up there as well. So it's not about coming from different leagues. It's about Anguissa is just a very, 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 very good player, and you have that in all leagues, and you don't need to prove yourself in different leagues necessarily. Having said that, it probably did help that he has experiences in Spain and in England, but not to make him a better player, for making such a quick impact. So many players, right? They struggle for a few months. They need to feel like they need time to be integrated. The good thing about Anguissa is that he's played in like 3 different leagues in Europe. So this is before Serie. So this is, just business as always for him. I'm just going to change teams and dominate. That's just what he does. And it's so important, guys. You have that with people that have traveled the world a lot, the more you travel the world, the more you then can establish yourself more quickly in new environments, and that's what Anguissa did today. He only needed about 20 minutes, maybe less, to establish himself in that Napoli midfield. So that's where his international experience comes in. But I don't think playing for Fulham made him a better player necessarily. I think he was already a good player when Fulham bought him Otherwise, Fulham wouldn't have bought him because they spent a lot of money on this guy a few years ago. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm so far back in the chat. Guys. I'm trying to make sure I read as many people's comments as possible. Spalletti and Allegri had a quarrel in the press room. Did they? No way. I need to. I want to see that. Honestly, Spalletti is like my idol. I have Koulibaly and Spalletti as my idols for at least for today. The commentators for Paramount went from hyping McKinney to astounded at Zambo. This guy is everywhere. Yeah, I mean, Zambo was fantastic. But not just him, guys. Not just him. I mean, if we actually look at what Napoli accomplished today, we had over double the amount of passes that Juventus had. 13 corners to 1. 25 shots on Juventus's goal. We dominated, and that's not just because of one player. That's the whole team played really well. Credit to Spalletti, credit to the whole team. But yeah, honestly, this game, and to be fair, the last 3 games have convinced me that Napoli maybe have that X factor this season. Maybe we've got that something. We might not, as Spalletti said, we might not be cruising to results, but we're grinding out results. And a lot of the time, that's the difference between a title-winning team and a team that finishes 4th. A team that finishes 4th is a good team, but when things get tough, they crumble. A team that finishes 1st is a team that when things get tough, they get tougher, right? And we're tough, guys. We're tough. So yeah, and it's great to see the table, seeing Napoli first. Obviously, we've got some other teams that could also be in that position come the end of the weekend, but Juventus 16th, that's bad, and they could be lower down. They could possibly go down to the relegation zone. So yeah, no, good weekend for Napoli. Good weekend for sure. But let's not get too carried away. As I said, 35 games. If anything, as I said before, this is important for Juventus, this result, because it kind of takes them out from the title race. But for us, if we're interested in the title, it doesn't mean anything. It's just an extra 3 points. Lazio, Inter, Milan, and Roma all still have their say in the title race. So yeah, I think, guys, that's where I will end the stream, because I'm hungry. Thank you guys for joining. There's a lot of you that joined. Thank you for your generous donations. Thank you for everything. Make sure you smash that like button if you haven't already. I'll take maybe like 2 or 3 more comments before I go. Anthony Navarro, you know what made me laugh? After Politano scored, he tapped Spalletti's bald head for good luck. I'm pretty sure maybe at halftime they all just tapped his head as they left the changing room. That's why there was such a big difference between the first and second half intensity and performance for Napoli. The commentators were already read that. Yeah, so Anguissa is going to be one of our best shirt sellers because of this game. Potentially, if we ever get to see those shirts, because we still don't have shirts. So a bit hard to buy shirts when Napoli and Armani haven't sorted that out, which is annoying for us fans. EJ Wise, great stream, Dom. Have a good one. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the donation. I really appreciate that. I think it's your second one today, so thank you so much. Diego saying we scored from a corner. That's true, 13 corners, and we scored from one of them. Last year, we could not score from a corner, even if there was no other team on that field. To be fair, Juventus did everything themselves. McKinney to Ospina, but we'll take it. Yeah. No, great stuff, guys. And hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you have a great Saturday. I don't know if it's already Sunday for some of you, but yeah, make sure you enjoy. I will be at the Leicester game on Thursday. So make sure you're following official Napoli Talk on Instagram, because I will have live stories and all that sort of stuff on there. I won't be able to make a video about it. And then next weekend, I'm on vacation, so I'll miss the game on Monday against let's take a look against who we play. I think it's Udinese. I'll miss the game against Udinese, guys. So unfortunately, I won't be able to do it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do any sort of video after it, because I'll literally be traveling as the game is going on. So yeah, that sucks. I think I'm more sad about that than you guys are. Trust me. I do not want to miss Napoli games, and I do not want to miss making videos. Yeah, but it is what it is. So yeah, for the Leicester game, guys, make sure you're following official Napoli Talk. I'll make sure to get exclusive stories for you guys. So yeah, see you soon. See you for the Sampdoria game in a few days' time, if not before. So that's everything from me, guys. Make sure you guys stay safe. Make sure you guys enjoy tonight. Go out, have a beer, have something to celebrate, have some cake if you don't drink, and yeah, enjoy your weekend, guys. And as always, Forza Napoli.